Welcome to the Solaris interview with our man with the monkey, Gareth L Powell, author of Macaque Attack, which is out in January, which is the last in the trilogy of monkey books. What are we calling the trilogy?
I haven't thought of a good name yet. Monkey books is all right for now.
Monkey books. Anyway, cheers. With our banana daiquiris here, we toast Ack-Ack Macaque and the success of. I just have to have a bit of this. Delicious. Gareth, Macaque Attack started in Interzone many years ago. Can you tell us a bit about the genesis of the story?
Yeah, it was back in 2007. I was trying to write a story about the sort of Disneyfication of pop culture, and I was writing about an internet artist who had an anime series and her jilted ex-boyfriend. And in order for her to have a convincing anime series, I needed a character. And for some reason, these two words, Ack-Ack and Macaque, bumped into each other in the back of my head and fused and became this monkey. It was like he'd always been there just waiting for me to come up with the name, and he sprang forth in all his swearing, violent glory. And I just popped him in the short story, and he tried to take it over. And he became the title of the story, and I thought I was done with him. And the story went on and won the Interzone Readers Poll for that year. So he struck a chord with people, and people kept asking me if I was going to write anything else about him, and I always said no. I mean, he's just a monkey, really. I don't have anything else to say. But then, after I wrote the recollection for Solaris, and I had this idea for this murder mystery set on a giant zeppelin about some characters who were sort of examining what it means to be human by not quite being human. So I had Victoria, who has a brain damage and part of her brain has been replaced, so she's not sure if she's still human. I had her husband, who was the murder victim, who lives on through a computer recording of his personality. So he was human, and now he's quite obviously dead, and not very happy about it. And I needed a perspective of somebody who never had been human. So I had a little think, and lo and behold, there was the monkey in the dark recesses of my brain, smoking a cigar, saying, "It's about time."
How hard is it to channel yourself into the monkey? Is it a character that becomes easier the more you write him? Do you think there's a part of the monkey in you has always been there?
It's scarily easy. It's quite difficult to stop channeling the monkey sometimes. Yeah. He's sort of like I describe him as the Hyde to my Jekyll. he's the sort of the dark side of your personality, or monster from the id that you want to leap out in the middle of a book and go, oh, forget this, let's just shoot everybody. And
he has his own Twitter feed as well, I noticed.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a cheeky monkey. And he's got some very dedicated Twitter fans.
Yeah.
They send him all sorts of pictures, and some ladies who send him, in one case, a marriage proposal.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. I don't think Ack-Ack is the marrying type, really.
I don't think he is, no. He had to respond, "I'm sorry, lady, but A, I'm fictional, and B, I smell like a zoo."
Although there is some romance in Macaque Attack, to a certain degree.
To a certain degree. It's not hearts and flowers romance.
No. Fine. Did you ever think it would be a trilogy when you were writing the first? Was there plans when you were penning the first novel that you thought this could go further?
When I wrote the first novel, I wrote it as a standalone, but there were other places it could go. There were unresolved plots, and there was scope to write more. So when I had the chance to write Hive Monkey, I was really pleased. I could broaden out the canvas and flesh out the world a bit. But after writing those two, it definitely needed the third one to sort of bring the story full circle and bring it all together, I think.
And have Jake Murray's obviously done some fabulous covers for the series. Have his covers fed back into your writing in a certain way, in the way that you think of Macaque, the Macaque, when you're writing Ack-Ack Macaque? Do you have Jake's illustrations in your head now?
I do, yeah. I've got them all pinned up on the notice board above my computer, and sort of some of his rough sketches as well, because he did a lot of rough sketches that didn't make it to the book. And we worked very closely together to get the look right as well. We even put it together. He suggested a few little jokes we smuggled into some of the covers as well, for people who look very closely and have read the books. So I'm very pleased with what he's done. I think he's an absolutely fantastic artist.
You've also written for us a recollection. Silver Sands was your first novel. So space opera seems to be a feature in your writing. Is that your go-to genre of choice?
Space opera is kind of where I came from. I started when I was reading science fiction. That was my kind of touchstone. It started with being 5 years old and seeing Star Wars, and then I grew up through the Traveller role-playing game and so forth. So space opera is like my comfort zone, and the recollection was very much the space opera I'd wanted to write since I was about 12, and I wrote it for, my younger self is my own target audience, I think, in that respect.
Excellent. And what's your writing process? Are you a 9 to 5 writer at the moment? Or?
I'm a 9 to 3:15 writer at the moment, because I get the kids out to school and then I sit down and hammer at the keyboard until they come back.
And Macaque Attack, as I say, is the third one. Are there threads you've left unresolved? Do you think there's any chance for the monkey in the future?
I think the story of the trilogy has been wrapped up, but there is scope for the future, and there's, without wanting to give anything away, I suppose that there are implications of possible exciting directions it could go in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever written or even thought of writing non-genre? Is science fiction and genre stuff definitely where your heart's set, or have you had thoughts for writing? I hate the term literary fiction, but you know what I mean.
I used to be very kind of sort of focused on I'm just going to write sci-fi, but funnily enough, with the recollection, some of it's set on Earth, and some of it's in the memories of people set on Earth in the 20th century, and so it's those sections of the book were very kind of naturalistic and almost kind of sort of mainstream, but sort of chopped into a space opera. So I think from that point of view, I think it's quite possible I might sort of branch in that direction, but I don't think I'll ever completely leave the genre.
You said that it's interesting, you're mentioning in the recollection that mixture of the mundane and the science fictional elements. I think that's what first attracted me to your writing in the recollection. It had a sort of almost a Graham Joycean feel to the beginning of the book. It had those kind of about relationships, and then something speculative happens. And I think that's true even when your characters are on other planets. They're very human characters. There's there's scenes in the bar and stuff like that. You're talking about people who are people, not people who are so far removed from us.
A very wise person once said, if you want people to read about what you write about people. And I think a criticism that's levelled at the genre sometimes is that it's all about ideas, and the characters can be a little sort of wooden or cardboard cutouts. And I was very determined that I wanted to write about real people, and so in the recollection, I thought I wanted to draw the reader into the book, so I wanted a modern day character. So there's this taxi driver called Ed, who's a failed artist and in London, and he gets sucked into the main action, and he was like, for me, the reader's guide. So he had to be more real than real in some ways, so that he could be relatable.
Do you find it easy to find time to read, or is it quite hard to be reading when you're writing most of the time?
It's very hard to juggle parental duties with writing and reading. So reading tends to take place in snatched moments, in the bath, but it's very important to keep reading, to sort of keep the fiction circuits of the brain lubricated, I think.
Absolutely. And has your other half read the Macaque books also?
Yeah, she's my first reader.
Okay.
So she will, when I've done a couple of drafts and I'm happy to let someone else see it, she will go through it with a fine tooth comb and pick out as many mistakes as she can. She's been a huge help. And my sister in France as well. Okay. She's also given me very good feedback on all three books.
And what's the best thing about writing The Monkey?
The irresponsibility that you get to a scene where, for instance, they're all sitting around in a boardroom trying to decide what to do, and instead of having to write the big debating what to do scene, he just pulls out a gun and says, "Everyone shut up, this is what was happening," and off he goes. So he just sort of cuts through all that exposition.
And the worst thing?
The worst thing is people kind of expect me to be him sometimes. So, but yeah, there are no downsides to writing the monkey books.
Do you ever find yourself thinking, what would Ack-Ack Macaque do in everyday situations?
Oh yes, yeah. And if you want to stay out of prison, it's probably best to do the opposite.
Thank you very much, Gareth, for coming along to Solaris Towers. Ack-Ack Macaque and Hive Monkey both out now and available where all good books are sold. Thank you very much for coming along, and I hope you've enjoyed your time.
I have.
And the banana daiquiri.
Oh, that was delicious.
A real treat. Yeah. Thanks very much.